1995 Nebraska was historic. They won the national championship game 62-24 and are widely considered the greatest team of all time. But this story isn't just about Nebraska. This is about a conference that everyone was writing off, that was on its last leg, and that had half of its teams finish in the top 10. A conference that wasn't going down without a fight. It was the Big 8. It was 1995. Change was on the horizon. This is the Big 8's victory lap. Our story begins in Lawrence, Kansas. Going into year 8 under head coach Glenn Mason, the Jayhawks were, well, not good. Mason had maxed out at 8 wins, and over the previous 26 seasons, Kansas had won just 38% of their games. There was no reason to believe 95 would be any different. After rolling through an admittedly mediocre non-conference schedule, the Jayhawks had earned a national ranking as they went on the road to Colorado. This was a Colorado team that was one of the best teams in the country the year prior, but with the departure of their coach and quarterback, most were expecting a significant step back. The Jayhawks flew into Boulder and defeated the Buffaloes handily 40-24. This certainly put the league on notice, but Kansas had to prove it wasn't a fluke. In their path 2 weeks later were the Oklahoma Sooners in Norman. The Sooners, who had been ranked as high as number 10, were 15th following their tie against Texas. Number 7, at number 15, the frisky upstarts versus the old guard. KU outscored them 38-3 the last 3 quarters, taking it 38-17. Up to number 6 in the polls, this set up the most highly anticipated Sunflower Showdown ever. Well, that's not saying much. You see, in the 1980s, Kansas State won 22 total games. They went winless twice. They were easily one of the worst programs in college football. But now, Bill Snyder had them ranked 14th. It was the first ever ranked matchup between the two schools. 14 versus 6, in Manhattan. I bet if you follow college football, you can guess how this one went.
It's
41-7 Wildcats. It was never close. KU did bounce back against their rivals across the border the next week. They then won their season finale on the road against Oklahoma State, finishing the regular season with more wins than they had had since their 1968 Orange Bowl team. So what about that K-State team that beat them? Bill Snyder was in year 7 with the Wildcats in 1995. In years 5 and 6, a significant leap was taken, beginning his case for most extreme turnaround in college football history. This wasn't just a struggling team. Since the Dust Bowl began more than 60 years earlier in 1934, they had won less than a quarter of their games. It was just short of a miracle that Snyder had them winning 9 games in 93 and 94. Still, they weren't trusted enough to earn a preseason ranking. 2 victories to start the season were enough to get them in the top 25, but it was the 3 games that followed that put the world on notice. The Wildcats outscored their opponents 141-0. They were flying high behind a defense they were calling the Lynch Mob. Wait, the Lynch? No. We'll say it was a good defense. That brings us back to the Sunflower Showdown. The impressive victory vaulted the Wildcats into a place they had never been before this season, the top 10. After 40-piecing Iowa State and an Oklahoma team whose national ranking was hanging on by a thread, the Wildcats had climbed 7th. K-State, 22 wins over a full decade K-State, was bringing a 7th-ranked team to the regular season finale. And who was on the schedule but Colorado? The 1990 national champions were almost certainly the second-best team in the country in 94. After the 11-1 finish and coinciding with the graduation of quarterback Cordell Stewart, legendary head coach Bill McCartney announced his retirement. Having spent only 1 year on his staff as a QB and receivers coach, the 34-year-old Rick Neuheisel had a lot to prove. Showing plenty of respect for what McCartney had built, but a healthy skepticism of the new man in charge, the Buffaloes were given a preseason ranking of 14. And they would jump right into the fire, heading up to Madison to face the number 21 Wisconsin Badgers. It was an immediate statement victory, Wisconsin and a crowd 79,000 strong had no answer for the new-look Buffaloes, getting blown out 43-7. 3 weeks later, College Game Day came to town for the biggest non-conference game so far, number 3 Texas A&M. Rick Neuheisel has his shot to prove that the Buffaloes were here to stay. And they did exactly that. A 29-21 Colorado victory set up a second consecutive top 10 matchup in College Game Day showcase at Oklahoma. Colorado again dominated on the road, taking it 38-17. At the time, it looked like they were getting some reprieve, hosting the 24th ranked Jayhawks the following week. Kansas's decisive victory was much more a sign of the Jayhawks' strength than of Colorado's weakness. Certainly not thrilled to lose just their second game in as many seasons, the Buffaloes again beat down on a road opponent, stampeding Iowa State 50-28. Neuheisel's Buffalo squad were going into the season finale with plenty of confidence after another big road win at Oklahoma State and a home shutout of Mizzou. 2 top 10 teams trying to cement their status toward the top of the Big 8, a Colorado road game in 1995 meant a double-digit victory, never trailing and pulling away late to defeat the Wildcats 27-17. So wait a minute, if Colorado beat K-State, and K-State beat Kansas, but Kansas beat Colorado, well then who the hell gets to be the conference champion? Enter Nebraska. The undefeated national champions from 1994 pack-a-punched going into 95. They wanted to make it difficult, so they started the season traveling to Oklahoma State and Michigan State, and beat both by 40. They went ahead and kept it up over the next 4 games, also winning by an average of 40 points, including a 57-0 shutout against Missouri. Keep in mind, the Huskers starters were sitting out almost the entire second half of many of these games. That leads us into their first top 10 opponent of the season, Kansas State. Remember mighty old Kansas State with their elite defense? Well, all Nebraska did was jump out to a 35-6 lead and coast to a 49-25 victory. The Wildcats' 11 other opponents averaged just over 11 points per game. Nebraska quadrupled that. Having hardly broken a sweat, they go on the road to Boulder the next week. This is a really tough Colorado team, right? Lots to prove. Were they able to hang in there? Let's go ahead and take a look at the Huskers' first play from scrimmage. Yeah, no, they couldn't hang in there. What Colorado was giving to its opponents on the road, Nebraska was giving to them just as hard. If you're an Iowa State fan waiting to hear positive words about your team, you're not getting them here. Cyclones 14, Cornhuskers 73. This sets the stage for Nebraska's third top 10 matchup in 4 weeks. This time, it's Kansas. The last time KU had a team this good was also the last time they beat Nebraska. Was this the year they would snap the 26-game losing streak to their northern neighbors?
Kickers away, it's a good high one, going up into the slight breeze. Fumbled, and Nebraska's covered the ball. Is going
No, it was not. 41-3. In the span of a month, the 3 teams that were dominating college football took turns getting pummeled by Nebraska by an average score of 45-16. This wasn't just the case of a top-heavy conference beating up on the little guys either. All 4 teams went into bowl season and proved it. Back to Kansas, they went to Hawaii for the Aloha Bowl against UCLA in what turned out to be Hall of Fame coach Terry Donahue's last game. The Jayhawks took a 37-7 lead into the fourth quarter and won 51-30. Kansas State earned a Holiday Bowl invitation against their poor victim, Colorado State. Putting one last stamp on the season, they jumped out to a 33-7 lead and won 54-21. Colorado, declared to be the number 2 team in the conference, took on number 12 Oregon in the Cotton Bowl. After falling behind 6-0, they scored 38 unanswered to take it 38-6. Nebraska's dominant regular season set up a national championship game against Steve Spurrier's undefeated Florida Gators. This was a historically good Florida team in their own right. They boasted 3 top 10 wins of their own and had also won every game by double digits. Nebraska was just a 3.5-point favorite. Through the first quarter, it looked like we might have had a game on our hands. Florida led 10-6. Nebraska was trailing for just the second time all season. Touchdown, safety, touchdown, field goal, Pick six, field goal, halftime, 35-10. After this iconic run by Tommy Frazier to end the third quarter,
Frazier adding more numbers, more yards to those. Oh, they don't have him yet. How many tackles can one man break?
the backups came in and got a score of their own, and then the third stringers came on, but they kneeled it out on the goal line. Final score, Nebraska 62, Florida 24. The Big 8 was going out on top. The four teams had won their bowl games by an average of 31 points. All four finished in the top 10 of the AP poll. An undefeated national champion and four teams in the top 10 has only been matched one time in college football history. Joe Burrow, LSU, you heard of him? The greatest conference in college football history sang the ultimate swan song. So why was it going all away? The Big 8 didn't disappear because it was bad. The Big 8 disappeared because college football was changing. In 1981, traditional Big 8 power Oklahoma had sued the NCAA for the ability to sell their own TV rights. After the Supreme Court ruled in Oklahoma's favor in 1984, a conference arms race was on. The SEC poached Arkansas from the Southwest Conference and added South Carolina in 1990. That same year, the Big Ten added Penn State to expand to 11 teams. I mean, come on, the Big Ten, with 11 teams, really? And they stuck with 11 for over 20 years. How did we let that slide? Anyway, the Big East also threw their hat in the ring in 1990. Even though the Big 8 was arguably the strongest football conference in the country between the lines, they simply didn't have access to big enough media markets to stay with this 8 forever. Arkansas's departure for the SEC, combined with SMU's death penalty in the 80s and the general decline of its lesser members, left the Southwest Conference in dire straits. With a little help from some folks over in Bristol, Connecticut, the two conferences agreed that an alliance was necessary. The Big 8 and 4 schools in Texas created a brand new conference named the Big 12, set to start competition in 1996. The second oldest conference in Division I was going to dissolve. The Big 8's victory lap would go on to prove to be lightning in a bottle. Kansas went 4-7 the next year and has won 10 games just one time over the next 30 years. It even took them 10 years just to have another winning season, and generally, they've been among the worst power conference programs in the country. Colorado was able to match much of their success in the first season of the Big 12, but since then they have been unable to recapture the magic of the 90s, reaching double-digit wins in just 2 seasons against 5 seasons of double-digit losses. They have not been ranked in the top 5 at any point in the last 25 seasons. On the brighter side, this was just the beginning of a phenomenal 10-year run for Kansas State. Though they never earned a chance to play for a title, they won 11 games in 6 of 7 seasons from 97 to 2003, reaching a ranking as high as number 2 in 2 separate seasons, highlighted by a Big 12 championship victory against number 1 Oklahoma in 2003. Nebraska's winning streak ended in Week 2 of 1996 after 26 games. They had another undefeated season and national championship in 1997, leading Tom Osborne to ride off into the sunset. Longtime assistant Frank Solich was able to enjoy some success in his 6 years at the helm, though they never reached the same heights seen under Osborne. After Bill Callahan and Bo Pelini had their goes at winning 9 or 10 games a year, they fired Bo Pelini and have since suffered an extremely well-documented downfall. For one last year, 4 programs from flyover country took over the college football world. All top 10 teams, undefeated against everyone else, 4 dominant bowl victories. It was Big 8 football, it was beautiful, and it will never be seen again. If you liked this video, please subscribe so I know to make more like it. Comment down below what you miss most about this bygone era of college sports. And if you want to learn more about ball, check out one of the videos shown on screen. Thank you for watching, and long live the Big 8.